Hello everyone, my name is GregTech, and in this episode of my Hardcore All the Mods 9 Let's Play series, we are going to be heading into the mining dimension and building ourselves a quarry, as well as upgrading our storage system and upgrading our power. Now before we start this video, I just want to say yesterday we reached 100 subs, so I just want to say thank you to everyone who subbed. You guys are the reason that I can actually grow my channel. I just want to say thank you, and if you haven't already, be sure to leave a like and subscribe as you guys get me one step closer to becoming a full-time content creator. Now, without further ado, let's jump straight into the video. And if you guys remember from last episode, we actually went ahead and got ourselves some Althemodium, as well as gained access to the mining dimension, and we're going to end up in this episode building ourselves a quarry. However, before we do that, we really need to fix our storage problem, because our storage right now, if you go ahead and take a look here, we're really struggling in terms of storage, and my inventory is really cluttered because of this. So we're going to go ahead and set ourselves up with refined storage, and it's not even going to be that difficult because we have the quartz required to get into it. It's just going to be a little bit of a process. So let's not waste a second and let's get straight into that. Now that we've gathered all of those materials, we could go ahead and make the first part of this thing, which is going to be the controller. And this is an amazing thing, because this is going to basically be the heart of our system. And for now, we're going to just go ahead and place this here. This is not going to be staying here, but right now, this is our only source of power, so we kind of have to have it here. But yeah, this is basically just the first piece of this puzzle. Now we're going to need to go ahead and make ourselves a disk drive, as well as make ourselves a grid. Specifically, a crafting grid. Now, if you guys will look in my inventory, I ended up crafting this. This is my favorite, item for building this kind of base. And it's what we're going to need to actually end up building this entire base. If you guys are curious how I crafted this, it's really simple. It's just some redstone, ender pearls, lapis, and iron. And what this allows us to do is, if we go ahead and open this up, we can actually basically set how big we want this room. In this case, this is going to end up being our crafting and our other area. So we're going to go ahead and set this up like so. As you can see, we are currently going to want to build it 5 blocks up. So we're going to go ahead and have this go up 5. We're going to have this go in a block of 1. Let's actually go ahead and make this about, let's say 7 blocks wide, since it's even. And then on the right side, we're going to go ahead and set this to 3 this way and 3 this way. So it's going to be a 7 by 7 by 5. And all we have to do is hit the right click, and it'll completely clear out this area in a matter of seconds. I love this mod. The destruction gadget is going to save us so much time when it comes to building this base. It is going to be insanely helpful. And now we went ahead and crafted ourselves this disk drive. What this does is we basically can put different disks in here, and it's going to give us some storage. And if I'm not mistaken, actually, if we go ahead and craft ourselves a storage housing, we can get ourselves a free storage part. So we're going to go ahead and actually really quickly do that, because getting a storage housing is really easy. All you have to do to make this is just get some glass, some redstone, and some quartz. And I do believe we actually have just everything that we need. We're just going to need to get ourselves 2 pieces of glass, which let's go ahead and figure out where our glass is. We don't have some. So let's go ahead and quickly craft this storage housing up. And just like that, we got ourselves a storage housing, which this is now going to give us a random storage part. Imagine it gives us a 64K. That'd be insane. Nope, just a 1K. That's kind of what I expected. And that actually completes us another quest that is going to give us just another machine casing. What we need to do is we're going to probably end up needing to get ourselves a 16K. So to get that, we're going to need to go ahead and get ourselves 3 4K storage parts, which is just 9 of these 1K storage parts. But before we do that, we're going to actually need to go ahead and craft ourselves up this crafting grid. But to do that, we first need to make a normal grid, and it's just going to take us a little bit of stuff to get this it's going to be really simple. We just need these improved processors. They're really easy to make, and the reason why we needed slimes and string is to make this processor binding, because this is basically the core of almost everything in this mod, and having ourselves this mob farm has made that incredibly easy. And just like that, we are going to go ahead and craft ourselves up this grid. And the nice thing is, getting this crafting grid is just going to require us to get an advanced processor and a crafting table. And to get that, it's just a diamond and instead of the gold. So we're going to go ahead and really quickly craft that up. And just like that, we now have ourselves a crafting grid. And what we're going to do is we're going to just set that bad boy right there. And as you can see, we have access now to this entire panel. However, we don't have any storage right now. That is because we are going to need to make ourselves those drives. And to do that, we're now going to need to go ahead into refined storage, and we're going to need to craft ourselves 9 of these. And it's not that hard. We just need silicon, glass, redstone, and some quartz-enriched iron. And to get that, all you need is a piece of quartz and then 3 iron to get ourselves 4 of that. And it's relatively easy to craft. As you can see, we have 24 of it. So we're going to go ahead and really quickly craft ourselves 9 of these. Alrighty, and just like that, we can now go ahead and craft ourselves this 16K storage part. And that is going to unlock this quest for us, and hopefully we'll get decent storage. Only a 1K, that's fine, honestly. What we need to do now is we're going to go ahead and craft ourselves 1 more storage housing, which isn't going to be very hard at all. Pretty sure we can craft that just like so. We're going to take this one out, and we're going to go ahead and throw this into here to get ourselves a 16K storage disk. And we'll also go ahead and get ourselves this 1K as well, since why not? And now what we can do is we can just throw these both into here, and as you can see, we now have 17,000 items worth of storage. And if we go ahead and look into here, and we can just now throw our items into here, and it will hold all of our items. Like, this has basically solved our entire storage problem. We can go ahead now and just empty out our entire inventory into here, and we can just go ahead and just throw literally everything into here. And this basically just solved all of our storage problems. And with this mod, we can do a lot of other really useful things early game. However, I do not plan on using this forever early game, because applied energistics beats it in every single way. It's just a little bit more difficult to craft. So for now, we're going to be using refined storage, but expect us to be shifting over to applied energistics relatively soon. And just like that, we now have all of our items from everything, from all of those chests now in this storage, and it only took up about 37% of it, which is insane. This is how powerful this storage mod is in terms of storing things. And now we have everything in a single area, and it is going to be incredibly nice from here on out to actually store our items. When we need more, we're going to just go ahead and craft some more. And now that we've actually gone ahead and crafted all of this, we can very easily just craft everything we need for this builder. All we're going to need is we're going to need to get ourselves a block of redstone, and then we're going to need to make this machine casing, which is really easy. All we do is we just get 2 blue dye, just like so. We're going to go ahead and craft this machine frame, which then we can go ahead and craft this builder. And now, with this, before we can set this quarry up, we're going to need to go ahead and craft ourselves a quarrying card. And that's going to just take us a second to go ahead and craft. So let's go ahead and craft that. And just like that, we get ourselves this clearing fortune quarry, which is for the builder. We're going to have to go ahead and set that up. However, we're also now going to need to figure out another problem, is we're going to need to power this thing somehow. And I think, personally, the best way to do that is to actually just go ahead and craft ourselves a bunch of windmills, as it is really cheap, and it'll provide us with all of the power that we're going to actually go ahead and do with that. Also, we're going to go ahead and go up and kill that wandering trader, because we do not like that guy. And now I do think that this will be enough for what we are going to end up doing. So let's go ahead and head on into the mining dimension with our 2 wind generators, and we're going to go ahead and set this thing up. Now, to get this to work right, we're going to have to do this in a very specific way. Because how we're going to set this up is basically, first things first, let's go ahead and place down the builder. It is facing the wrong way, so let's face it this way. We basically want it to be at the edge of this chunk, so it'll destroy everything in front of it, but not actually end up going into this chunk. And what we're going to end up doing with this is, as you can see, this is going to need power. We're going to go ahead and slap a windmill on either side of this, and these basically are going to put power into here. It's going to be pretty slow, but it's going to be the best that we can actually go ahead and do for now. And then what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to place this gold chest right on top of this. This is basically going to be the builder's inventory, and it's going to hold all of the items that we want in here. And now you guys may see that I have a filter module, which was really easy to craft. All you do with this is, if I can just go ahead and look at right here, it's just literally an iron, redstone, paper, and a hopper. It's really simple to make, and it allows us to filter this out. So, how does this work? So, how I find the easiest way to do it is, first of all, you need to bind it to the builder. That was not what I wanted to do. So, we're going to go ahead and take that right back out, and we're going to shift right-click, and now this is bound to this builder. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and set up this in a 5-chunk area. So with chunk borders shown, we're going to go all the way over here and select this corner. And now we're going to need to go in the opposite direction 5 chunks. So we're going to go ahead and just head over here. And then we're going to need to head 5 chunks in this direction. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then after this, 5. And what we're going to have to actually end up doing to make this work is we're going to need to go ahead and dig down to bedrock. Now, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I can actually get back up here, so just give me a minute. Alright, and I went ahead and crafted ourselves these elevators, and this is going to basically help us get out of here when we dig all the way down. And we can actually just dig straight down in this case, because there are no cave systems or lava in this dimension. It's just ore and stone. So we're going to just dig all the way to bedrock here. And this is going to take us a second, so I will see you guys whenever I get to bedrock, which is going to take a minute. Now, I just wanted to show this really quick. As you guys can see, we are in the mining dimension. We have dug straight down, and this is the nether layer, and then this is the end layer. So you can literally get ores from all 3 of the different overworld, end, and nether dimension all in this one place. It is so incredibly nice. Alright, and we have dug down to bedrock, and we are going to go ahead and shift right-click this corner, and now the settings are copied. Also, I just want to showcase something really quick. There is a mod in here called, I believe, the Void or something, and if you stand on bedrock for too long, it's going to go ahead and, as you can hear that sound, it's going to slowly infect us, and as you can see on screen, transfer us to the void. Now, we do not want to head into the void, so just keep that in mind, that is in fact a feature. And now if we go ahead and just jump, actually we are facing the wrong way. It needs to be here. So we're going to go ahead and really quickly move this elevator over. And we are going to just go right here and jump right up. And just like that, we are back at the surface. And we are completely chilling. Now let's go ahead and head on back to our quarry. And I'm going to show you guys how we actually go ahead and set this up. It is actually pretty easy to set up. All we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to put this quarry into here. And then we're going to go ahead and put this filter module. And I'm pretty sure we can go ahead and configure it. And all we need to do is we can go ahead and, like, for example, we're going to go ahead and put diamond into here. Like, I'm pretty sure we can just go ahead and get ourselves diamonds. And now what that is going to do, I'm pretty sure actually we have to look up diamond ore. Yeah, diamond ores. So now what this is going to go ahead and do is if we go ahead and put this into here and turn this on, this should just go ahead and mine us diamonds. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to end up working. But let's go ahead and click ignore and then do that. And now what this is going to do is this is going to go down in the Y levels looking for diamonds. And we're going to soon go ahead in here and we are most likely, once this gets down to probably about Y level 100 or something, we're going to go ahead and see some diamonds in here. If I set this up correctly, that is. Now, really quickly, we're going to go ahead and actually just force load this area, because this is going to take a second to actually get down. So whilst we wait, let's go ahead and get ourselves set up with the power mod. However, to get into the power mod, we're going to have to go ahead and do a couple of things. And one of those things is actually going to end up us getting into mystical agriculture. And the reason for that is we are going to go ahead and get ourselves a way to make clay. Because as of right now, we have an infinite source of all the resources we need, realistically, except for clay. So we're going to go ahead and get ourselves some clay. Now, how are we going to go ahead and do that? Well, it's actually not going to be that difficult. All we're going to need to do is we are going to need to make ourselves some wool here. And we're going to go ahead and get into mystical agriculture. Now, to actually go ahead with that, we're going to need to go ahead and make these pedestals, which are just going to require us some stone and some gold. And we have all the resources to do that, so we're going to go ahead and just smelt up some of this cobblestone, and we're going to go ahead and make this infusion pedestal. And the nice thing about mystical agriculture in the case of actually setting this up is it actually will show you a outline of where all of the different things need to go. However, just do keep in mind that this thing does require a redstone signal to activate. And I would highly recommend getting yourself like a redstone block underneath it, so that way it just infinitely activates, or even do a lever. Those both are working. However, lever is cheaper, but the redstone block just will look nicer because you can completely hide it. Or an even better option is actually this mod, Glassential, was recently added into the mod pack, and it gives us a piece of redstone glass. This stuff is really nice, as if you place it down, it's just literally a red outline, and you can't shatter it or anything, which is nice. And as you can see, it emits a redstone signal. Similar to a redstone block, but it only costs a single piece of redstone, and I'd actually probably recommend this over the lever and redstone block, as it is what I am going to be using, and I highly recommend it. Now, with that all said and done, let's go ahead and really quickly break this, place our piece of redstone glass underneath it, and now we're going to go ahead and just place our infusion pedestals down in the order that this thing is telling us to. And now we have our infusion setup set up, so now we can go ahead and actually make the seeds required for this mod. And to make ourselves these clay, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves water and dirt seeds, as if you go ahead and take their essence with water seeds, as we're going to go ahead right here, 2 water essence and 2 dirt essence makes us 24 clay balls. And that is what we are going to end up needing for ourselves to get started into power. So let's go ahead and get that set up. And to do that, we're going to need to go ahead and first get ourselves some water algamallow. And that is going to be a little bit annoying to craft, but it shouldn't be that bad because we have ourselves water right there. All it is going to take for us to craft this is it's just going to take dirt, clay, gravel, and water. So let's go ahead and craft those up. Now, to go ahead and actually make these seeds, we are going to need something called a prosperity seed base, which requires 4 prosperity shards and some wheat seeds. Now, thankfully, as we were growing the wheat seeds, this was not difficult at all, and we actually already got a decent amount of prosperity shards since we went mining. I told you those prosperity shards are going to be useful, and this is why. And now that we have everything we need, we're going to go ahead and make these 2 seeds. All we're going to end up doing is we're going to be placing the materials that are required in the pedestals, as well as the essence that is going to be required. And since these are all basic tier seeds, we can just go ahead and use Infermium Essence. And all we have to do is we put these prosperity seeds into here, and as you can see, it's going to go ahead and make us our dirt seeds. And now we can basically grow dirt. Yes, it is quite funny, but this is going to end up being extremely powerful later on when we actually full dive into mystical agriculture. However, we are not set up enough to get into mystical agriculture yet. However, we will be able to here in a while. Now let's go ahead and really quickly craft up these water seeds. And as you can see, it doesn't really matter the order of which you place them in. However, it does look nicer when you do it one spaced out by the other. Now, however, we can go ahead now and get ourselves our water and dirt seeds. And we're going to go ahead and claim this quest and get ourselves prosperity block and an Infermium apple. This just acts like a golden apple, except it is Infermium. It's really useful, and it will probably end up saving us one of these times. So we're going to go ahead and take out these wheat seeds, and we're probably going to also get rid of these fluff puff seeds, as we are going to go ahead and now grow up these water and dirt seeds. And now these will be growing in these pots for us, and we're going to go ahead and get those essences. And this is going to enable us now to get into power. So let's not waste any time, and let's just full dive into the power mod. But first, actually, let's go ahead and check up on our quarry. And as you can see, the quarry is doing its job, as we have... That is a lot of diamonds. Wow. And that is basically all the diamonds in this area, as this has gone down to Y level 44. And there's probably not any diamonds in there at this point, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is now going through the nether and the end. So we can actually just go ahead and stop that. But look at that. 3 stacks of diamonds. Just like that. And we can just request this for any material that we're going to need. And it's going to go ahead and mine that up. Even ancient debris, if we needed it. However, I think we're going to go ahead and just set this up to get ourselves some redstone next, as that is the thing we are going to probably end up needing most. And now we can actually just go ahead with these diamonds and really do whatever we need to with diamonds, as our diamond problem is basically solved for now. And I doubt we're going to be needing too much of those diamonds, as we are eventually going to end up growing those diamonds. And we're going to need to start doing that relatively soon. However, we definitely need to go ahead and get started with this power mod, as this is going to open up a lot of opportunities for us to actually go ahead and get ourselves a stronger resource pool. And we're also going to need to get ourselves some wireless power to actually go ahead and make this room, as well as getting a bunch of other things. So let's go ahead and get started with the power mod now that we're actually able to just grow those resources. And as you can see in my inventory, we actually got ourselves this dirt essence and this water essence. And if we just combine it in here like so, we can go ahead and get ourselves some clay. And this is going to be insanely useful for the power mod, and I'm going to show you why right now. So let's go ahead and start this up. So first things first is we are going to need this dielectric paste. And for this, we're going to need ourselves some clay, some charcoal, and lava buckets, as this is going to be the best way to actually go ahead and make ourselves dielectric paste. And as you can see, this ender tank with our lava from last episode, we can just refill this as many times as we need to get as much dielectric paste as we need. And this is just going to save us so much time, as we can just go ahead and craft up a bunch of this. Now, to actually go ahead and get ourselves set up with this, we're going to need to go ahead and craft ourselves something called a magmator. And why we are using that specifically? Well, because we have ourselves an infinite source of lava, we can just pump this magmator full to the brim with lava, and it'll just constantly produce us power. And as far as I'm concerned, the magmator is the second best way in terms of power to actually get power in the early to mid game, besides actually building a power reactor. So we're going to go ahead and actually craft this up. And to do this, it's actually going to be really simple. We're going to just need to make ourselves some basic capacitors, which are going to require us to get some redstone blocks. And it is expensive. Like, this isn't going to be an easy thing for us to do early on. However, this will be easier once our quarry actually mines up some redstone, which I currently have it running right now for. So let's go ahead and now craft up this magmator, as this is going to be pretty easy to craft. All we're going to need is we are going to need some iron bars. Let's go ahead and craft those up. And then we're going to go ahead and make these dielectric rods. And we can actually just go ahead and craft 2 of these and put half of these in here and turn those horizontal. And with that, we can now go ahead and make these dielectric casings to go ahead and make ourselves our first magmator. So let's go ahead and do that now. And as you can see, we now have ourselves a magmator. And we can just go ahead and pump that right here. And as you can see, it's immediately going to start producing us so much energy. And we're going to go ahead and get ourselves set up with like 8 of these at some point. And we're going to just get so much power from this, as this is going to basically allow us to just get so much power from this. And it is going to be incredibly nice. However, we also want to make this power wireless. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves into the Flux Networks mod. And to do this, we're going to need to get ourselves some flux dust. And to do this, we're going to need to head to bedrock, and we're going to need to crush redstone with a bit of obsidian. And thanks to our elevator in the mining dimension, this is just going to be a breeze. Because as you can see here, I also set this up to get us some iron, because I know that we're going to be needing a bunch of this iron. But also right here, as you can see, we got ourselves getting iron and redstone. And it is just so nice. We're going to be able to turn this redstone dust into flux dust. And we're going to go ahead and get ourselves about a stack of this stuff before we actually do this, because we are going to need quite a bit of this flux dust. So let's go ahead and actually get ourselves all the redstone required for this. And now with about a stack of redstone, we're going to go ahead and quickly break this stuff. And all we actually have to end up doing for this is we just go ahead and throw this redstone on the ground, place a piece of redstone above it, and punch it. And just like that, we get ourselves flux dust. And as you can see, the obsidian turned into cobblestone, which I find kind of funny. And with that, we now have this flux dust. And what this is going to allow us to do is actually turn this into our flux networks. And it's going to end up being really beneficial to us, as this is going to allow us to transfer an infinite amount of wireless energy. And as you can see, this is still going with iron. And this is just going to be... This quarry is so nice. And I'm really, really happy with this quarry. Now, to actually make the pieces required for this flux network, we are going to need some Eyes of Ender. And thankfully, we have an infinite supply of it right here. This is why this farm is just so nice. We can just take ourselves as much of these as we need, and we can just go ahead and turn these into blaze powder, and then throw our ender pearls into here, and we can just make ourselves, like, a stack of Eyes of Ender. Like, it's so nice having this farm set up. And now with this, we can actually go ahead and craft ourselves these flux cores. And before we do anything, we're going to go ahead and actually craft ourselves this flux block. And what this is going to allow us to do is we basically now don't have to actually go to bedrock, as we can just turn the redstone into flux dust here. And that is going to be insanely nice. Now, what we're going to go ahead and do here is we're going to go ahead and actually make ourselves this flux plug and this flux point. And it's going to be relatively easy to do. We're going to just go ahead and craft ourselves 2 of these flux cores and flux cables, which we're actually going to go ahead and craft ourselves one more thing of that, as we are going to need a flux block to go ahead and make ourselves this flux plug. And what this is going to allow us to do is this is going to allow us to tap into our energy and basically generate all the power necessary for transferring to our flux points. And how we're going to do that is really simple. All we're going to go ahead and head on doing is we're going to just plug this in right here, and we can go ahead and create ourselves a new network. And it's really easy. We're going to just go ahead and we're going to just call this energy. Oh, this thing. So actually the G key is bound to something else. So we're going to just, do network for power. And then we're going to just set this to something like yellow and create this. Should be really easy. We're not going to do it. It's just going to be a private channel. And then just like that, we can go ahead and set this up to network. And now we can just transfer whatever energy we actually end up needing to wherever we need it to go. And to do that, we're going to need to get ourselves some redstone. But as you can see, this is just really going really, really well. And whilst I am thinking about it, actually, we are going to go ahead and get ourselves something called a energy cube. And we are going to need this energy cube to actually go ahead and charge up our different devices, as this is just going to be way better than every other option. So we're going to go ahead and craft ourselves this energy cube really quick. And just like that, we are now able to go ahead and get ourselves a basic energy cube. This is going to be insanely nice, as we can just go ahead and set this down, like, let's say right here. And it's just going to slowly charge up, and this is going to start draining this energy, which is nice. And then this is just going to fill up with energy as basically like a backup thing. And we can just go ahead and put our different devices into here, like, for example, our destruction gadget, and it's just going to charge up our tools. And this is going to be insanely helpful, as we're going to need a backlog of energy to be able to actually charge our different devices. And one of the things that I'm actually going to end up making, because in this episode, I kind of wanted to be able to change the look of our base. So we're going to be getting ourselves an exchanging device. And we can just go ahead and craft one of those like so. How this works is we basically can just switch out the different resources that are around our base, and we can just set an area of that to just be whatever material we want. And because right now we don't have the resources required to make it futuristic thing, I think just upgrading it to wood would be fantastic. So we're going to go ahead and actually change out these floors and walls for the different woods that we've been having grow this entire time. So let's go ahead and do that. Alrighty. Cue the time lapse. Alrighty, guys. So I completely updated the base. I had to switch out that wall because I realized I was really smart and put lava on wood. So I had to fix that. But now that this is done, I'm just gonna say, this feels so much nicer. Even though this isn't the material that I'm gonna end up using, it really does just make this feel more like an actual build versus just kind of an underground hole. And it definitely makes a massive difference. And now that we're all set with this, we can go ahead and now get started on this room. We're going to go ahead and quickly put some torches on the wall. So we're going to go ahead and really quickly do that. And then once we're done with this, we're going to actually go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the doors that we're actually going to be using for this build. And it's going to make a lot more sense of what the theme for this build is going to actually end up being. And to actually make this, all we need to do is make these iron plates, and just like that, we can go ahead and make these doors. Now, the reason I wanted these doors specifically is because it's going to match the overall theme of the build. Because if we go ahead and just place this down, and we right-click this is what the doors are going to be. And yeah, that's insanely cool. I seriously love this mod from this door. It's from a mod called Ad Astra, which basically adds a bunch of planets into the game, but you can't. That's so cool. That's such a cool door. And we're going to have that for all of the different corridors. And how we're going to have it set up is basically it's going to detect when a player comes up, and then it's going to automatically open and then close behind the player. It's going to be insanely cool. And honestly, even that door just makes the base come together so much nicer. But now that we're kind of all set up and ready to go, let's just go ahead and get this flux point, which we finally got the redstone for the redstone blocks required for it. So let's go ahead and make ourselves this flux point. And then we're going to go ahead and actually just move this into the other area, which, by the way, this stuff stores in these storage disks, and you can just pick all of them up at once, and it'll go with you. It is incredibly nice for transporting versus breaking those chests and having them just completely get nuked on you. So we're going to go ahead now and actually place this stuff down. So in here, we're going to go ahead and place down this, this core. As you can see, it still has some energy with it. We're going to go ahead behind this. We're going to go ahead and place this flux point, and we're going to just set this up to this network. And as you can see, it's now not going to, we're going to go ahead and quickly place this stuff down so you guys can see. But as you're going to be able to see here, it's not going to drain any power at all, because it's just going to transfer that energy, and this is never going to go down. So now we can just have this set up as wireless power, and it's going to be insanely helpful in terms of actually getting wireless power from room to room, as we're not going to need to get the mess of all of the different cables and things like that. We can just set up a single flux network for it, and we can just have all of that energy wherever we need it. It's going to be incredibly powerful. And now we can just have all this ore processing in its own separate room. What I'm going to probably end up doing is I'm going to end up moving these cables into here so we can just have all of our ores and processing units in this one room. We're going to probably go ahead and do that in the next episode, however, because in this episode, we're more or less done, besides one last thing that I want to do, which is to just get ourselves a little bit more on this power mod. And to do that, we're going to go ahead and actually get ourselves some energized stuff, and we're going to go ahead and just get ourselves a little bit more of these magmators. And since we now have the redstone for this, we can actually go ahead and just craft ourselves like 6 blocks of this and go ahead and we can just make ourselves the different cores. However, before we do that, we're going to go ahead and actually make these different capacitors. We're going to get ourselves like 3 of these. And then we're going to go ahead and turn these into tiny capacitors, and we're going to make ourselves 4 or 3 of these energizing rods. And it's really simple to do. We're also going to go ahead and start completing the quest line for Power, because that actually is going to help us significantly in terms of actually getting all this stuff started. So let's go ahead and get ourselves this dielectric paste, and we're going to put it in our inventory. Get that completed, and then we're going to go ahead and get ourselves this dielectric casing, which we're going to need some iron. And by the way, before in the next episode, I'm probably going to do this off camera, but I am going to actually go ahead and expand this iron farm, because as much as we have as much iron as we could possibly need, just getting more iron is always going to end up being better. So probably off stream, or maybe even in the next episode, I'll go ahead and expand that. But we're going to go ahead and get this dielectric casing, and we're going to claim those capacitors, and then we're going to need to get ourselves these things. We're going to need some energy cables. We're going to just end up crafting these really basic ones, because I don't feel like going ahead and crafting the advanced ones, as we're going to not be using these cables. We're going to be using the ones from Mechanism, or even the one from the Pipes mod. So we're going to go ahead and really quickly craft this up. It's going to be really simple. We're going to just go into the Power mod, and then we're going to go ahead and look for these cables right here. We're going to go ahead and get ourselves some rods, and then we're going to go ahead and craft ourselves these energy cables. we're going to go ahead and put these in our inventory because otherwise it won't give us the achievement. We're going to go ahead and do that. Now we're going to go ahead and craft ourselves these energizing rods. And then last but not least, we're going to go ahead and craft ourselves the energizing orb, which we're going to just go ahead and make this dielectric casing, and then bada bing, bada boom, we got ourselves this energizing orb. And what this is going to allow us to do is we're going to go ahead and just place this down like right here. Let's actually just go ahead and set it here. Then we're going to just go ahead and place this energizing rod on top of this cable. And as you can see, it's going to start storing energy. And what this is going to allow us to do is now we can go ahead and make the different materials for this mod. So if we go ahead and get ourselves some gold and some iron, as you can go ahead and see, we can just go ahead and throw this into this energizing orb, and it's going to go ahead and energize it with this rod, and it's going to go ahead and get us some energized steel. And this is going to be the tier for the hardened capacitors and things like that, which we're going to probably go ahead and do in the next episode. Alright guys, and that is going to end up wrapping it up for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to like and subscribe, as only 25% of my viewers are actually subscribed to the channel. So be sure to go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button, as each and every one of those helps me grow as a content creator and get one step closer to becoming a full-time content creator, as well as if you want to support me more on becoming a full-time content creator, be sure to go ahead and join my Patreon, and you guys will be able to get a special slot in my base and get shout-outs every single video, so I highly recommend going for that. Anyways, thank you guys for watching until the very end, and until the next time, peace out.